So as thousands of people visit and enjoy the country's beaches this festive holiday season, the National Sea Rescue Institute has urged the public to take water safety precautions in and around water. The Institute says that in the past few weeks, its volunteers have responded to 13 drownings in progress, and through partnership with other stakeholders, they really have saved 25 lives over this period. Now, tragically, 7 of these, they were fatal drownings. Perhaps to talk a little bit more about water safety precautions, we're going to be joined virtually by Craig Lambinon, National Sea Rescue Institute spokesperson. Craig, on that note, good morning, and thank you for joining us at this hour on the SABC.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Craig, it's that time of the year. We're going to shine a spotlight on some of the do's and don'ts and the tips, of course. Today, it's a public holiday. Thousands of people, as I mentioned, expected to visit South African beaches and bodies of water as well. And just from your vantage point for 2025, would you say that this has been one of the busiest periods for you? And if so, which provinces really have seen an increase of beachgoers and water usage as well?
Yeah, so what we have noticed is that the drowning incidents have generally happened at beaches where lifeguards weren't present. So our appeal is to have the public visit lifeguard-protected beaches only, but also to have a safety-conscious mindset in and around water, not only coastal waters, but inland waters, rivers, lakes and dams, and even your swimming pool at home that should have a cloak of safety around it, and for parents to ensure that they have a responsible adult supervising their children while they're in water. So every year is different. No one year is the same as the next regarding when or how a drowning accident happens, but sadly they do happen. At Fishhook Beach, we still have the police, water policing and diving services continuing in a search for a missing 18-year-old. And yesterday at East London, a 24-year-old male went missing in the water at Glen Eden, and police search and rescue are continuing a search there.
You know, Craig, thank you for speaking to those incidences, because I know that we are comparing what happened last year, perhaps to better prepare for this year, but no 2 years can be the same. And even if we isolate some of the incidences that have come to the fore, there was also an NSRI report of a man who went missing after he was swept off the rocks by waves, apparently whilst gathering fishing bait with friends. And this happened on the coastline near Thembalethu in George in the Western Cape. Is there any update that you can also issue on that front regarding this case in particular?
Yeah, so we know that the police divers, police, water policing and diving services are continuing an ongoing search efforts there. Okay. It's understandably very difficult for a family when their loved one is missing. They don't have closure, but they know that the person is missing in the sea. And our thoughts are with all of the families around the coast, including that incident further up the coast in Mozambique, where a family are still searching for their child, the 18-year-old who went missing there. It's a very difficult situation to face, but that's why our appeal is so strenuous at this time of the year, especially at this time of the year, to have a safety-conscious mindset in and around water. And like I say, that even goes so far as to your swimming pool at home. Yes. It's understandably everybody's on high alert to respond to emergencies. NSRI, the lifeguards on the beach, police, emergency services, we're all on high alert. We're appealing to the public, don't drink alcohol and then go swimming. It dulls your senses. If you get into difficulty and you've had too much to drink, the chance of your survival are less, but also around the coastline to be aware of rip currents that form constantly throughout the day at different places. If you're caught in a rip current, simply stay afloat. It's called survival swimming. Anyone who goes into the sea will find themselves survival swimming. When the wave approaches, they jump up to keep their head above water. When they land, they're floating. They're no longer standing on the beach ground. And in that moment, you find yourself survival swimming. Stay afloat. Don't panic. Don't try to swim against the current. Simply stay afloat. At your first opportunity, swim parallel to the beach until you're free of the current, and then use the incoming waves to get back to shore. But a drowning accident is silent. A person who drowns simply slips underwater unannounced. And that's why we're asking parents, even at home, at your swimming pool, have someone physically watching your children while they're swimming.
Yeah, well, Craig, thank you for speaking to those safety measures because we're looking at those emergency responses, how many of them have been life-threatening at this point, particularly for this year as well. But even those crucial survival swimming skills that you've now alluded to and mitigating against some of the risks associated with oceans and large bodies of water as well. I wonder if we can also look at the issue of climate change, the recent heavy rains as well. How has that played a role in some of the emergency responses that you're also seeing?
Yeah, so we are aware that emergency services, disaster risk management, police, divers have responded to multiple incidents around the country with the heavy rainfall that's caused flooding in places. Always watch the weather warnings, have safety measures in place. If you, particularly with the spring tide approaching,
yes.
So on the 3rd of January is the new moon, the full moon. So the full moon spring tide, that's starting to already build from today onwards. So literally over New Year, you're going to have higher than normal high tides, lower than normal low tides, and that's exacerbated by the heavy weather that we've experienced in some places around the country. So be aware of weather changes. We're also appealing to boaters, sailboarders, sailors, and paddlers to download and use the NSRI SafeTracks app. The SafeTracks app is a smartphone application. It's free of charge. You can get it on our webpage at www.nsri.org.za. You download that and use it when you're launching to go to sea. Even for sailboarders, use your smartphone SafeTracks app. It takes the search out of search and rescue for us. So when you press the button to say you've got an emergency, we immediately know our NSRI Emergency Operations Centre and the Maritime Rescue Coordination Centre. They monitor that app on a computer console, so we know exactly where you are. If you get into an emergency, we come straight to that place and rescue you. And it really has helped us tremendously to take lengthy search operations out of the picture when you get into difficulty. But even for a sailboarder, and we know at this time of the year, there are a lot of sailboarders taking benefit of the strong winds that we've been experiencing around the coast. Yeah. So rather have that downloaded to your phone and use it if you're going to launch any kind of craft onto water.
Craig, thank you for speaking to boat users and holiday makers, especially those who are going to be using dams as well, and some of the tools that are also available to assist on that front. I'm even just looking at, and you alluded to this, the coordination between EMS, maritime services, lifeguards as well. Those are important, aspects that need to happen on the value chain. But for bystanders who are on the beach or at a body of water and they're witnessing an incident, what are some of the do's and don'ts for the person obviously experiencing the turmoil, but also for bystanders who want to assist? What should they do and not do as well?
The bystander who witnesses an incident can call 112 from their cell phone or call the NSRI at 087 094 9774. Okay. When a person's in difficulty in water, it's an immediate response by all emergency services. NSRI, the nearest lifeguard, police, water policing and diving services, emergency services, fire and rescue services, ambulance services, they all respond immediately, because in a water rescue, seconds can mean the difference between life and death. A bystander is witnessing a person in difficulty. Unless they're a good swimmer, first activate and know that backup is coming. And if you're a good swimmer and you're going to go into the water, always take a floating object with you. In fact, yesterday at Port Alfred, 3 Good Samaritans aided by an NSRI Pink rescue boy rescued a 23-year-old man out of the water at Kelly's Beach. But they had that floating object with them, and the wife said if they hadn't had the floating object, that played a vital role in rescuing the person. Unfortunately, too often, the bystanders get into difficulty themselves if they launch to try to rescue someone out of water. So always have that floating object with you. And unless you're a good swimmer, don't try to rescue somebody. But if you are able to, Pink Rescue Boys, the inception was in 2017, are now responsible for 231 rescues around South Africa, and none of them resulted in a bystander getting into difficulty. So no bystander came to any harm using an NSRI pink rescue buoy that we've stationed. But we're also appealing to the public to look after our pink rescue buoys. Sadly, they do get stolen quite often. It's not a it's something that's stationed at the beach to save somebody's life. It's not a mantelpiece to take home with you. So we're asking the public to look after our pink rescue buoys that we have stationed around the country.
Okay, so Craig, if there's going to be any behavioral change that needs to happen for this festive season or the summer season, what are you urging the public to do at this point? How can they also best support the NSIR? I mean, even if we're looking at animals, perhaps shark attacks or other incidences of that nature that we must include, whether we like it or not, what would you also like to say on that front?
Yeah, so actually we did rescue a dog yesterday at Hermanus that got into difficulty in the new harbour. But that dog is recovering well. We're appealing to the public, don't drink alcohol and then go swimming in any water. It dulls your senses. If you get into difficulty, you're unable to help yourself. But also go to beaches where and when lifeguards are on duty, that are beaches patrolled by lifeguards. Take your family to that beach to go and swim. And if you get into difficulty in the water, simply stay afloat. Use at your first opportunity to swim parallel to the beach until you're free of the rip current. Stay afloat, don't panic, and then use the incoming waves to get back to shore.
Well, Craig, let's see how this all lands, of course, during this festive season. Thank you for those invaluable tips. We'll continue to monitor the situation as the days progress alongside the NSIR and various other emergency services there. But spokesperson of the National Sea Rescue Institute, Craig Lambinon, just telling us about some of those do's and don'ts.